guys, if you've been following me on Instagram, you would know I'm doing a whole revamp of my shop. I've been putting in some storage, painting, cleaning it up, and getting some new awesome tools. And the last thing on my list today, I'm going to be building a scrap-in, cut-off, rolling storage cart kind of thing. I don't know what to name it yet. We'll see what the title of this video will be. I started out by breaking down some plywood. I just based the dimensions on the space that I had and the materials that I had. So I went with 20 inches deep and 5 feet wide, just using that AccuCut to break it down. I had to flip it around to get to the other side since it's longer than 4 feet long. And next up, I took a 10-foot long 2x4 and split it in half, so it was two 5 feet long pieces. Then cut up another 2x4 to 16 and 3/4 inches, I guess. I cut 4 of those pieces, and then I also cut some 1-inch blocks to put in the corners to so that I could attach the casters, so that there's a wide enough space to attach the casters. I pre-drilled, and did I pre-drill? You know what, I don't think I did. I think I probably should have, but I was being lazy, and this was just a shop project, so I wasn't being too careful about anything. I probably should have pre-drilled, whatever. So you see all those 1-inch pieces in the corners. That's so that the casters have enough space to screw it down in. If I didn't have those that 1-inch piece there, I would only be able to use 3 screws into my casters, which would not be good enough. Then after the whole frame was assembled with screws, I just screwed down the casters. I think I used 2-inch screws to put them in. You know, I'm really not sure. I just used a box of random screws that I had lying around. That's why I have 2 different drills there. They had different heads in them. Some were the square drive, some were Phillips, some I don't even know what they were. And it rolls. Gotta test it out. Secure down the top with a brad nailer. I love using this brad nailer, it's just so much fun. Next, I prepared the upright support for the storage bins. I did 5 feet wide again, and 3 feet tall. I put some pocket holes in the bottom, and anyone who's used a Craig jig before knows exactly why I wrote that on it. Then I just took that piece of plywood and attached it onto the rolling base using pocket hole screws. And if this was more than a shop project, I probably would have put a dado across the bottom of the base to make it really straight. Next up, I worked on the bin dividers. They are around 5 1/4 inches wide and 20 inches tall. And the front of the cart is going to be 12 inches tall, so I needed to make an angle to accommodate for that. The angle was a little too steep for my table saw, so I did it on the bandsaw and just cleaned it up on the belt sander. I took those bin dividers and drilled a bunch of pocket holes in them and attached them to the base and the back using pocket screws. If you'd rather look at pictures and see written words, I actually broke it down a little bit more on my website. I'll have a link down below somewhere. I attached the apron with pocket holes on the back as well, and the front was done. Now it's time to work on the back. So I took a 2x4 and ripped off that rounded edge that it comes with, and on the other side of it, I ripped an 8-degree angle. I'm not sure why I chose 8. It was more than 5, less than 10. It just seemed right. Next, I put some pocket holes into that 2x4 on the straight side, not the angled side. So the straight side is going to be attached to the back support like this, and the angled side is like facing towards me, where a plywood is going to be leaning against it. It's going to be a little bit on an angle. So I didn't have enough plywood on hand to support the whole back, so instead I cut down just 4 supports to put on the back out of plywood and got them all down to size, all with that 8-degree angle on the top and the bottom of it. Next, I worked on the cleats for the middle shelf part. I ripped 1-inch wide pieces that had the 8-inch angle on one side and cut them down to 3.5 inches wide, because that's how wide the supports were that I put in the back. And then I attached them onto the supports about 12 inches up from the bottom using my Ryobi brad nailer. Once again, I just love that thing. And then the second row, I did another 12 inches up and tacked it all down. Off camera, I ripped another 1-inch cleat that was 5 feet long that fit along the whole back of the support. Yeah, there it is. So I tacked it all down with the brad nailer as well, and I used a 12-inch spacer just to make sure that it was the same height all along, and I did that on the top part as well. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably already saw this. That's where I usually post all my real-time updates on my build, so if you're interested in that, definitely check out my Instagram. Oops, I didn't post that on Instagram. So I took a board and made sure that all of the supports were at the same measurement. I don't like to measure, so doing stuff like this is just a lot easier. Then I nailed it all down, not nailed, I screwed it all down from the top, and I used pocket holes to screw in the bottoms. Now I am attaching on a lip onto the back. I think this was a 1x5 board, and I'm just screwing it down, and this is what's going to stop the plywood from falling off the back. The last step was to put in the shelves for the middle. I'm kind of really happy that I didn't have a whole sheet of plywood to work with, and I have these open shelves and things can't get lost in the middle of them. I'm kind of really happy that it turned out like this. Now I just tacked it all down with my brad nailer again, and it's done. I am just so happy I have a place for all this stuff. All those pieces of plywood, I could have used those for cleats and things like that, and all these scraps, I'm going to use them, and now I can find them finally. I'm just so happy. If you like this, subscribe or check out my website where there's a written article with more details.